My life, when she makes love to me, there's always a reason for it. One night she used me to time an egg.
She says, I'll make a chicken. We always thought that was her selection, but she couldn't make anything else.
Chicken.
Let's take a look back at the most unforgettable, hilarious moments from The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. The brilliantly timed exchanges that turned the show into an American television legend for nearly 3 decades.
I got no respect at all, you know? They always made me take the family picture, and that way I wouldn't be in it.
Rodney Dangerfield spent nearly a decade performing under the stage name Jack Roy in small clubs before giving up comedy to work in the building materials business.
What do you mean they don't get any respect? What do you call that?
The only place over here,
Right
Johnny,
here?
the only place right here I get some respect. They're very nice here.
But when he returned to the stage in the late 1960s under the name Rodney Dangerfield, he brought with him a completely different style.
I got no respect the day I was born.
Really?
No respect. The doctor picked me up and smacked me. I found out the nurse, she got a few in too. He's a lonely kid too, Johnny. Oh,
Yeah,
not
lonely, huh?
Even in the park, I had no friends.
Really?
I remember the seesaw. I had to keep running from one end to the other. I grew up, I was lonely too, and I grew up.
yeah.
I couldn't get dates with girls.
Girls didn't?
No, but girls, they go for a guy with looks. Everything is looks.
Instead of telling made-up stories, Rodney turned his lonely childhood, personal failures, and the lack of respect he faced throughout his life into a series of short, hard-hitting jokes.
My life, when she makes love to me, there's always a reason for it. One night she used me to time an egg. And I'll tell you something else, too. I don't like the nickname she gave me, either. Microwave. Now, I'll tell you, last week was a rough week for me. I broke up my psychiatrist, too. He told me I'm going crazy. I said to him, if you don't mind, I'd like a second opinion. He said, all right, you're ugly, too. And then he told me to lay on the couch, face down.
Well, we lost the fort. The Indians were sober. We were drunk this time.
On September 19th, 1991, audiences witnessed a moment that was almost impossible to recreate. Robin Williams stepped onto Johnny Carson's stage to promote The Fisher King, then unexpectedly found himself seated beside Jonathan Winters, the comedian widely regarded as the greatest inspiration of his career.
She's very active.
But the romance is still there.
But you've got to stay up all night, you know, to keep her active. And a lot of things she say, you know, I come at her and play these ridiculous games. I'm sure he plays the same thing. The only thing in my section of Ohio, the river's dried up. Fish are just there in the dust.
They're good eating, though.
That's all, yeah.
Already get yourself some trout jerky.
It's like a chicken, you know. If you hit a chicken in the road, we used to just throw it in the back of the pickup.
What followed was more than 10 minutes of wildly improvised comedy, widely regarded as one of the greatest comedic exchanges in the history of late-night television.
We did. We had a marvelous time.
Those were good days.
You had access to more medication in those days.
Yeah, some of the shows were real quick.
I noticed the stuff wore off tonight.
Yeah.
We had a thrilling evening. We had a choice, one choice, of going to a fellow's house to have ribs. They were marvelous ribs and other stuff. And I saw the picture of myself as still. So then the following day, I said, where is the award?
That's right.
And somebody said, well, since you weren't there, you don't get it.
Was that your wife again?
No. Take it
Get
home.
yourself some Tennessee pizza.
Just a bad.
Put that on there right there. They've already been cleaned. They've been gutted and cleaned. They take everything off.
Once in a while, there's always a guy with a toothpick, you know. And, hey, how you doing, John? Very good to see you. How you doing out there? We don't see you. We don't get what you do here. Well, do you get anything? Not a lot. Not a lot.
On January 1st, 1982, a 20-year-old Eddie Murphy took the stage on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and delivered a performance that left more than a few NBC executives breaking into a cold sweat.
Anybody ever see those guys that model their underwear in these books? And they smile while they're doing it, they stand out there going.
During his monologue, Murphy joked about male underwear models, especially how they seem to have almost no bulge in the photos.
Did you notice these guys never have no bulge? You ever check that out? And they're standing there in front of millions of people, smiling.
For American television in early 1982, that was a daring subject, but it was precisely that fearlessness that helped Murphy quickly win over the younger audience Carson was eager to attract.
If I didn't have no bulge, I would not be modeling no underwear. And second of all, I damn sure wouldn't be smiling. I might be modeling like this.
August 7th, 1987, brought one of the finest monologues ever delivered, a routine widely regarded as the perfect distillation of the frustrations middle-class Americans faced every time they flew. Jay Leno turned the familiar experiences of air travel into comedy material, from the cramped economy cabin to the middle seat that nobody wanted to sit in.
What was the one I don't want to name, but boy, this was like stepping in the hole of some kind of flying slave ship, this thing.
With his sharp observations and everyday details that everyone could relate to, Leno turned the frustrations of airline passengers into one of the most memorable routines on Carson's stage.
You know my biggest fear? I always get stuck in that stupid middle seat. Get stuck between the screaming baby with diarrhea and the octogenarian with halitosis. You know, we look like the 3 H's of man winging through time. God forbid you get stuck on the plane with nothing to read. You're forced to read that in-flight magazine. Boy, this is edited by the same people that do highlights, which you find in your dentist's office. And they always make that announcement, feel free to take this complimentary copy home with you. That's okay, I'm not going to be wrapping any fish today. I think more people steal a puke bag and take that magazine.
I'll put that next to the Encyclopedia Britannica when I get home. A lot of good stuff there.
Buddy Hackett had a style all his own, turning stories about marriage and life's everyday troubles into hilarious monologues that left the entire audience roaring with laughter.
So this guy has lost all his money and he goes to his very rich friend who Shecky called Harvey Silbert. Guy says, you gotta give me some money. My wife is sick, she needs an operation. The doctor don't trust me. Says, I am not giving you any money because you will spend that money betting the horses. No, I won't. I've got money for the horses.
On December 19th, 1973, everything began, just like any other broadcast. But by the very next morning, toilet paper had nearly disappeared from store shelves across America. With just a single joke about the threat of a shortage, Johnny Carson accidentally turned a television punchline into one of the most famous panic-buying frenzies in American history.
There is an acute shortage of toilet paper in the good old United States. We gotta quit writing on it. Do you know what else is disappearing from the supermarket shelves? Toilet paper. You can laugh now. But I want to tell you, it is serious. I just saw a commercial where Mrs. Olson comes in with a shopping bag and the housewife says, forget the coffee, just give me the shopping bag. I want to tell you.
Most people believe television is always carefully planned and that everything follows a script. But Don Rickles and Johnny Carson spent years proving exactly the opposite.
Hey, you're not gonna have a hand. No, this is not your night. You take. Carson's cigarette box. Oh my goodness! I got Carson's cigarette box.
All because of a broken cigarette box, the two of them created a long-running revenge that stretched across multiple shows, becoming one of the funniest and most memorable behind-the-scenes stories in American television history.
Uh-oh.
What the hell happened to this?
Well, as long as you've seen what happened.
You know how long I've had the cigarette box on his desk?
You brought that up from New York City?
I brought this from New York. What on earth?
It happened last night.
Who?
Don Rickles.
I did not see the
Don
show
Rickles
last
did it last night.
I want to know what you plan to do about this.
Well, I plan to wrap your hand in it. What do you want from me?
I just started the show. I picked my box up off my desk that I've had for 9 years. My box is broken. They told me you broke it on the show last night.
Well, I really...
You get dummy.
To replace this. A wonderful, large, wonderful, beautiful x-ray of your lungs. Down. Oh, this is Frank Johnny's box. When he dies, I'm going to put him in this.
Red Skelton's stories about Herman the Pigeon are the perfect example of the art of storytelling through performance and facial expressions.
Gertrude Heathcliff.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
She said, we've been waiting around here all day for Herman the Pigeon. I wonder what's keeping him. She said, I don't know what's keeping Herman. So Herman comes in, he had got a feather on him, and he's walking people-toed. See?
Instead of constantly delivering short jokes, Skelton became Herman through every gesture, every walk, and every facial expression, then led the audience through the pigeon's bizarre adventures in the middle of the city.
And he got a feather on him, and Heathcliff said, what on earth happened to you? He said, the worst thing that ever happened to me. I was flying too low over Beverly Hills, and I got in the damnedest badminton game you ever saw.
The back and forth between Johnny Carson and bandleader Doc Severinsen created countless hilarious moments over the course of many decades.
For bird was one of our big problems. I wanted an oyster stuffing in the turkey, and she wanted bread stuffing, and she got bread stuffing and a lot of money.
Unlike Ed McMahon's enthusiastic encouragement, Doc answered Carson with dry, witty, and sharply sarcastic remarks.
What, are we having turkey?
Yeah.
No, I don't help. I don't know about that stuff. I couldn't go out. You know, in the Midwest, it's seriously enough. And when you grow up out there, some of the kids would have to get a pet turkey. They're terrible looking, they're noisy as hell, and they're mean birds. What?
They deserve it. Anything that ugly should.
You could come over. Would you like to come to the house? And
This is the first time you've ever asked.
you made me feel so guilty.
I mean, when you ask an employee in front of 15 million people, do you want to come to the house for Thanksgiving dinner? What am I going to say?
That chemistry turned what seemed like ordinary conversations into moments the audience always looked forward to.
You'll be out there writing the checks. Sending them for the stuffing, huh?
You will have written yours the day before.
That's right. Mine's already in the mails.
You know what I say? I say, yes, Mr. Carson, I love it.
Can you come?
No.
Dean Martin used the persona of a gentleman who always seemed slightly drunk to satirize the wave of television evangelism that was sweeping across America.
I'm gonna become an evangelist.
You mean you're going to heal people and...
No, you don't.
Cover yourself.
No, I believe in God and all that, but I'm gonna be an evangelist.
Uh-huh.
In this routine, he took on the role of a solemn televangelist, but with the appearance and mannerisms of nothing more than a street salesman. That contrast created a performance that was both subtle and sharply satirical.
Did you see 60 Minutes about 3 months ago?
Oral Roberts?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Big airplane, 707, and then about 15 little Lear jets. They make a lot of money, boy.
Yes, they do.
They can't send it to God, you know. He ain't even got a zip code.
You're going to make a swell evangelist. I think people ought to follow you. You're the leader.
I'm gonna heal more sober people. I feel sorry for you people that don't drink.
Why's that?
Well, when you wake up in the morning, that's as good as you're gonna feel all day.
Letterman presented a bizarre recipe made entirely out of toothpaste as a way of satirizing the daytime television how-to segments.
When you live alone, you find little shortcuts, little ways to save money. I don't want to call them household hints, but that's pretty much what they are. And I came across one this afternoon, just incredible.
The humor wasn't in the punchline, but in the way he seriously committed to a completely absurd idea. It was that unconventional style of comedy that made Carson realize Letterman was bringing an entirely new approach to late-night television.
If you let those little globs of toothpaste harden in your sink, you know, no problem. They make a fine after-dinner mint.
Johnny Carson's very real fear of the animals Joan Embry often brought onto the stage created many unforgettable comedic moments.
I think I'm going to cry. What is that animal doing on my wrist?
We're demonstrating how it moves, but
I know how it moves. What is he doing? They're preparing to strike?
if you don't anger them, normally
Don't
they-
anger them. What, am I going to say you're ugly or something like that?
Among them, the appearance of a tarantula was one of the most memorable moments. Carson's wide eyes, his attempts to stay calm, and his cautious steps backward turned his genuine fear into a natural comedy routine that had the entire audience laughing.
How do you get a tarantula angry?
Well, by blowing on it.
I'm not going to blow on you. He's a good-looking tarantula. Fine-looking tarantula. Real nice. No, I'm not going to blow on you. Maybe I'm talking wrong.
Another classic Buddy Hackett routine was his stories about growing up in a Jewish family, especially whenever he talked about mealtime.
My mother made a dish, cholent. You know what cholent is? Cholent, you get cheap cuts of meat, see? And you could use expensive meat, too. No. But if you got good meat, you don't have to make cholent out of it. You could eat it regular.
With his expressive storytelling and perfectly timed exaggeration, he turned the most ordinary memories into a series of hilarious situations that left the audience unable to stop laughing. It was that charm that turned an ordinary family meal into the material for one of his most memorable monologues.
Did you ever have
We never had turkey on Thanksgiving.
Never.
No, we had chicken. We had chicken, no matter, anything important was chicken. In fact, if we had chicken, if there was a birth, we had chicken, that's it. With brusfat, you know what that is? Suet, with chickpeas and geflochten bulbus. That was blank.
Yeah.
And hey, that's mashed potato. And it cooks 24 hours. You get a heartburn from that, boy. My mother was the worst cook.
Well, I know you said you'd stuff later on for 2 hours.
She says, I'll make a chicken. We always thought that was her selection, but she couldn't make anything else.
Chicken?
For nearly 3 decades, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson not only brought laughter, but also created unforgettable comedic moments that became part of American television history. It was the charm, the gift for improvisation, and the one-of-a-kind personalities of its guests that made those performances remain beloved by audiences even to this day. Out of all the moments you've just seen, which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss more classic moments from Hollywood's greatest legends and the videos still to come.